Hello everyone, this is Kate and I am very excited to share my digital research presentation here. And my presentation will mainly focus on the following four parts. And firstly, I will introduce my research topic and the reasons for my choice. And I will focus on how the main ideas of two academic journals relate to my research topic. And finally, I will give a brief summary with a video on this topic. And in this assignment, I want to study how does storytelling play an important role in maintaining Native American communities in modern society and help Native Americans construct their identity. And I will explain my reasons for choosing this topic in terms of the significance of storytelling to both Native Americans and non-Native Americans. In this course, I learned that storytelling preserves the unique culture of history of Native Americans by demonstrating their connection to nature and the land. Storytelling is transmitted orally from generation to generation, and indigenous people derive strength from their ancestors as well as culture and identity from storytelling. As one of the important ways of decolonization process of indigenous people, storytelling can help them reduce their sense of cultural division in areas such like political engagement, schooling, and work, and internalize their unique culture and spiritual values. And as a communication student, I also aware of that storytelling in form of narrative and rhetoric. For Native Americans, storytelling is a way for members of their internal community to gain acceptance, where for non-Native Americans, storytelling is more of a communication framework and method that helps break down the walls between Native and non-Native people, facilitating their communication while increasing their understanding of Native American. So I think that storytelling has the nature of perpetuating internal culture and enhancing sustainable external communication. And therefore, in this study, I want to focus on how storytelling can facilitate better integration of Native Americans into modern society while preserving their culture and identity. And the articles I found answered my questions from two perspectives, education and healthcare. The first article is named Storytelling and Success: How Storytelling Can Be Used to Promote Diversity, Cross-Cultural Understanding, and Confidence in the Classroom. The author discussed the benefits of including storytelling elements in the classroom for Native Americans from an educational perspective. Storytelling as one of the Lakota tribe's traditional ways of obtaining information plays an important role in maintaining their custom and identity. Elders often tell stories to the next generation through oral recitation during special occasions, which is regarded as good morals and truths to live by. And when the material learned at home differs from that learned in school, students fall victim to culture shock and identity confusion as they struggle to decipher the information. They also point out that public school systems in areas comprised primarily of Native Americans do not actively seek to integrate language and important cultural and spiritual beliefs, nor do they accurately teach tribal history and development when these students are not learning important aspects of their cultural identity. The education of Native Americans should not be geared towards integrating them into white culture. Therefore, when storytelling is incorporated into the curriculum, it creates emotional engagement with the material and fosters students' interest and investment. Incorporating storytelling into the school system allows for the use of case studies, letters from important historical figures, and short anecdotes to introduce a lesson. And from this article, I learned that Using this method of instruction in a classroom will not only increase students' interest and retention in learning the information, but will also help diverse population learn the material in ways they are familiar with while fostering an appreciation for diversity in other students. The second article is named Elevating the Uses of Storytelling Approaches Within Indigenous Health Research, which argues that storytelling approaches that privilege indigenous voices can be useful tools for breaking the grips of Western worldviews in research. And the role of storytelling extends from the transmission of culture within indigenous populations to build respectful and trusting partnerships with non-indigenous people. Storytelling has become a method for recognizing indigenous traditions, creating space for sharing historic knowledge about experiences of health and illness, empowering those marginalized in society to have a voice, and thus it is a powerful method of decolonization. The authors gave specific examples of how storytelling can build bridge with non-indigenous groups. For example, using digital storytelling to work with native Indian women with experiences of heart disease to understand concepts, language, and experiences about their heart health. The authors show that their team is building a framework for respectful use of storytelling in health research that involves partnership between Native American and non-Native Americans to facilitate more comprehensive, respectful, and relevant research projects using storytelling method in the future. And in this article, I think storytelling is fully demonstrated as a decolonizing way to make the voice of Native Americans heard in the healthcare field. The integration of indigenous epistemology into modern healthcare exemplifies the better integration of Native Americans into modern society through storytelling to fight for their rights. I think the above two articles are typical examples of how storytelling is helping Native Americans better integrate into modern society, increasing Native American participation in infrastructure investment, preserving the sustainability of Native cultures, and demonstrating the potential of indigenous epistemology to communicate with non-Native people. And I also found a video to help me better understand the important role that storytelling plays in shaping Native identity. Lovina Louie tells the audience about Native American connections to the land, ancestral inheritance, and prayers for future generations through their stories of canoe building.
When our young people said prayers for the first canoe that we made, and they sang an honor song, and when we carried that canoe down to the water, and when it touched the water, when it touched the Coeur d'Alene Lake, I could feel my ancestors welcoming us home, welcoming us back to where we belong on the water. Our people have fought for the water at Standing Cloud or at Standing Rock. The water is our life. It is who we are. The very first canoe journey that I went on in one of these canoes, I had my daughter North Star with me. And as we came around the Kettle Falls into the Columbia River, and I was singing my Auntie Anne's song, and we were paddling our canoe, and my daughter looked and she said, "Mom," and two eagles flew down. And she turned around and looked at me and she said, "Mom, this is going to be my most precious memory with you." And it made me feel alive, and it made me feel proud to be who I am. Because underneath our skin, whether we're white, black, brown, underneath our skin, we all bleed red blood. We are all connected to each other and to Mother Earth. And our teachings teach us that every decision we make for the seventh generation. That when I wake up every morning, I ask myself, how am I going to make my ancestors proud today?
And finally, through this research, I also got a real sense of the wisdom and philosophy of Native American life and the positive role storytelling played in bridging different peoples. Storytelling is an instructional tactic, enabling the listeners to visualize the knowledge that needed to be preserved and passed on to the future generations to teach them how to learn from the environment and their life experiences. At the same time, storytelling is also helping to break down stereotypes and marginalization of indigenous people and better integrating indigenous epistemology with modern society. And these are my references page. Thanks for watching.